Hi, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of All Things Lean with your host, Madhulika Rajahan. In our last episode, we talked about behavioral economics. In this episode, we will talk about 5 ways to use behavioral science to create better products. A myriad of fields, skills, and insights come together to create the overarching discipline of user experience design. Psychology and behavioral science play a big part in the UX design because understanding people, the way their minds work, what they want and don't want, will help us create better products and services, and consequently, more successful designs. Let's explore 5 behavioral science insights you can use right now to design better products. They'll be especially useful if you are a product designer, UX designer, that is, product manager, or anyone involved with the product design process. First, it is essential to understand behavioral science and the related discipline of behavioral design. Here's a quick breakdown of the same. Behavioral science studies the cognitive processes of organisms, animals, or humans. It uses observation, scientific experimentation, and mathematical modeling to draw conclusions on how and why people or animals behave. Behavioral science encompasses psychology, anthropology, psychobiology, and more. Behavioral design combines design, technology, and psychology, that is behavioral science, and applies it to the design process. To practice behavioral design, we must understand how people think, how and why they make decisions, and how to influence them to inform the design of products and services. Engage the pre-attention area of the brain to create eye-catching products. This is the part of the brain that grabs attention. It's known as the visual cortex. It can be extremely useful in product design, especially if one of your main objectives is to catch a user's attention. There are 4 areas of visual cortex: V1, V2, V3, and V4. And each one has a particular sensitivity. Now let's talk about color. Look at the image. On which side is it easier to see the numbers 2? Is it the right hand side? And that's because a certain part of the visual cortex is sensitive to color. We can see the twos as they are in a different color from the jumble of letters and numbers. Angle. Another part of visual cortex is sensitive to angle. As illustrated in the image below, we notice one line in particular because it is slanted, while all others are vertical. Size. Similarly, when something is a different size from the other objects around it, we notice it. It's another aspect we can use to catch attention. Then we come to movement. It may seem obvious, but we automatically detect when there is movement. We don't often realize it. Our attention is fleetingly drawn to small movements throughout the day, whether it's an insect flying close by or a piece of paper shifting from a brief draught. To utilize the pre-attention visual area to its full potential, only use 1 or 2 visual attributes simultaneously. If you try to use all of them at once, the pre-attention area goes quiet. Reach your target audience with mental models. As we learn something new, we create new neuron connections. However, from childhood through to adulthood, our brain prunes some of these connections. It's a natural process that's necessary for brain development. But it's for this reason that learning a language is more difficult later on in life. The same pruning happens when we use and experience different technologies. The technology that we use as a preteen or adolescent sets our mental model for the rest of our life. This means that mental models change from one generation to the next. For instance, have you seen how accustomed young children are with touch screens? They are far more comfortable with them than someone much older, but who has been exposed to them more. The critical factor is when they were exposed. How does this influence design? If you want to ensure the success of a product, you need to be acutely aware of these mental models. Let the mental models of the generations you are targeting inform your design. The science of decision making affects the success of your product. Research shows that decision making is an unconscious process. Even conscious decisions where we apply our logic have an unconscious component. Emotions and feelings influence decisions, not just logic and reasoning. Emotions are so important that without them, we can't make any decisions. This means that there are no unemotional decisions. Confidence also influences decision making. It may seem obvious, but you are more likely to make a decision when you are confident about it. However, a feeling of confidence is subjective and varies from one person to the next. There is a part of the brain that monitors time, meaning we will unconsciously make the connection between the length of time it takes to make the decision and a lack of confidence. This unconscious knowledge further prevents us from coming to a resolution. Decision making is more complicated than we realize. It happens unconsciously. It's emotional and requires confidence. This is where behavioral design comes in. You need to make an emotional connection to trigger action and decision making. Consider how you can build trust with your desired audience so that their confidence in you grows and consequently they take action. Change behavior with partitions and groupings. Let's understand the concept of partitions through this example. So this is just a simple little story I want to tell you. Imagine that you're sitting on a couch, a great TV, good sound system, comfy couch, and I bring you your best favorite snack food of choice. Maybe it's a packet of chip or Doritos or a granola bar or whatever it is you like. I bring you an enormous bag of it, just a huge bag, and I put in it your favorite lap. And then on the TV, I put on whatever your favorite binge show is of the choice. Maybe it's a basketball show, or maybe it's a drama or a reality show. You know, whatever it is, I put it on the TV and I just slowly back out of the room and I come back in 3 hours. As we measure how much of the enormous bag of your favorite snack that I have plopped on your lap you eat, okay? All right, now do the same thing. Comfy chair, good sound system, good TV, the bingy show, except this time, instead of a huge bag, I put a pallet next to you with unlimited bags. You are not going to run out, but they are small little bags of your favorite snack. And Snow, when you run out, you can easily reach over and grab and open up another bag. In which version do you think you're going to eat more of the snack? The big one or the little bags? What's the answer? Of course, the big bag. You will end up eating more of the snack when you have a large bag instead of multiple little bags. The obstacle of opening a new bag is a partition. When we encounter a partition, it prompts us to think about our decision. If we have an enormous bowl of chips on our lap, we will instinctively keep grabbing more handfuls. Conversely, if we finish one small bag of chip and we are in the mood for more, we will be more deliberate in our decision to grab another one because of that one small partition, opening the bag. In other words, partitioning gives you a decision point at which you are to evaluate your actions, in this case, to stop or to carry on. The decision point shifts your decision making from automatic to deliberative. You can use partitioning to frame your product or service in a more favorable way. It can make small numbers seem big and big numbers seem small. For instance, have you ever given across a product framed in this way? Let the quality insurance for just $1 a day. That sounds a lot better than $365 a year. To make small numbers seem big, let's use Guter Wakenmath's example of cigarettes. If you're trying to convince someone of the damage they are doing to your lungs by smoking, imagine you could show them how many cigarettes they would smoke in their lifetime. A few cigarettes a day may not seem so bad, but if all the cigarettes were piled up in one place, a full magnitude of smoking can be appreciated. Humans can be influenced by the size of partitions and how they are grouped and framed. Use a big group and fewer partitions to keep people in the automatic decision-making mode and make small numbers seem big. On the other hand of the spectrum, use small groups and many partitions to encourage behavior change and make big numbers seem small. Embrace people's social need in your designs. We all know that humans are social creatures, and it isn't just for making us feel good, but it is critical for our very survival. Research shows that not having social connections can be fatal. Social interactions are essential. They are built into our biology and psychology. This knowledge is especially important if you are designing a product with a social aspect. You need to make it obvious how people can connect socially. Even if your product doesn't have a social aspect or you don't feel it's important to your design, remember that people will find a way to use any tool or technology socially. Imagine you had just bought yourself a new set of gardening tools. You are so pleased with them that you want to show them off, and you expect your friends and family to be equally impressed. Initially, the garden tools were just for you, but then it becomes a topic of conversation. And who knows, you might just convince someone to garden with you. Behavioral science provides us with a multitude of insights that we can apply to our design process. When we understand people, we can create better, more successful products. Use these 5 insights to catch your user's attention. Design products best suited for the audience or generation you are targeting. Influence their decision making and connect with them emotionally and socially. Strive for behavioral design to get the best user experience and the most successful product. With this, we come to an end to this episode of All Things Lean. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the comment section on what you'd like to hear more. Until next time, this is your host, Madhulika Rajahan, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead.